If you haven't watched the new Xal'atath cinematic, first of all, there's more foot shots, so you're going to want to watch it, take some screenshots, save that shit for later. But also, it's crazy. It reveals some interesting lore about Xal'atath. Is she telling the truth about her origin, everything else? We don't know. But what we do know is this lore is getting darker and darker. Let's see what Belial has to say about how this cinematic has changed the way we feel about Midnight.
Midnight is almost here, so it's about time Blizzard made Xal'atath's motivations clear to absolutely everyone, and that's why they've made this. It's a cinematic called Supremacy, and today I'm going to break down what we've learned and how it connects to all of the lore that we already know, so you're going to learn a hell of a lot, including what it all means for Midnight. Okay, let's get stuck in.
The players.
Supremacy focuses on two characters. We have Xal'atath and Nexus King Salhadar. And while in in-game terms Xal'atath is a relatively new character, making herself known during Legion, Salhadar actually goes all the way back to the Burning Crusade.
Man, you know, I wanted to like Salhadar. I did. I wanted to like him because I kind of thought he was a little bit of a badass here or there. And especially in the cinematic early on, you think he's just a fucking servant. I mean, I don't want to spoil shit, but the guy just loves to fucking serve. I don't know what it is. Not a very good leader. Yeah, so you can't really like it.
That's when Blizzard introduced Ethereals to the setting, along with their mysterious backstory, but it's only recently that we learn Xal'atath's role in that backstory and what Salhadar was really up to back then. So, here's what you need to know about both of these characters. Xal'atath serves herself. It really is as simple as that. During the War Within expansion, Illyria dispels any rumors of Xal'atath actually being a secret fifth old god, and she simply says Xal'atath is, quote, a survivor from the depths of time. And in this cinematic, we'll soon see what that really means.
Right.
Of course, to survive, Zal has had to cut deals, one of which earned her the title Harbinger of Dimensius, which brings up another question. Who is Dimensius? Well, he's this thing.
Yep.
A Void Lord. Essentially
Lord.
A being of pure void, a vast power. And where the light has the Naru, or the arcane has the Titans, the void has beings such as Dimensius. And by the time we meet Xal'atath during Legion, it had been many thousands of years since she turned
obligatory foot shot. I mean, they're just doing it on purpose at this point. They really are.
On Dimensius.
There's no hiding it.
She once served. And that brings us to the character of Salhadar, because when Xal'atath turned on Dimensius, Salhadar actually allied with Dimensius. And it all happened during the fall of the ethereal homeworld of Caresh. And knowing about that is key to really getting what goes on in this cinematic. Xal'atath is an ancient being. Now, she was once mortal, but that was a long time ago. And for much of her existence, she served as Harbinger to Dimensius.
Right. This story, by the way, seems to have gone full Silver Surfer. I mean, if you know any Marvel lore, you know the Silver Surfer, kind of the same thing, like a entity that eats worlds, came to his, and now he is serving that entity, preparing worlds to be devoured. But doesn't really like the thing he serves, kind of like, you know, not Sylvanas. Kind of like Xal'atath was serving Dimensius, even though she hated his fucking guts, clearly, and wanted to figure out a way to fuck him over in the end, and she did. But it's taken on, I don't know if these guys are reading Marvel Comics while they're writing this lore, but it's almost like identical to the Silver Surfer. Galactus, yes, Galactus is the same as Dimensius in this like a timeline of lore here.
Big Void Lord. She would scout around 4 worlds for him to consume. But in truth, Xal'atath has only ever served herself. And when Dimensius came for Caresh, the ethereal homeworld...
The difference is Xal'atath's actually kind of fucked up, and Silver Surfer was still a good guy. He was just trying to, you know, save his people.
Xal'atath played both sides. She helped the Careshi develop the technology that would save them, and whenever their own defenses began to destroy their bodies, she helped transform them into energy beings, of course, the energy beings that we know as ethereals. This was not done out of kindness, of course. Rather, the technology that they used to survive was her ticket out of Dimensius' service. Salhadar was actually High Priest of the Careshi back then, and he opposed Xal'atath. And when the whole crisis hit, he had secretly turned on his people, he seized power, and he declared himself as High King. Now, he did not succeed in saving Dimensius, but whenever he lowered the Ethereal's barriers, he forced a desperate gamble. Basically, destroy Caresh itself to take Dimensius with it. Of course, with Xal'atath transforming the ethereals into energy beings, they were no longer bound to their world of Caresh. They could go elsewhere, and that meant that Caresh could be sacrificed in this final gambit to destroy Dimensius. The plan almost worked, but not quite. Let's just say they fired things off too early, and ultimately Dimensius was not destroyed.
Premature destruction. Premature destructulation. That's what kind of happened there. And it gets the best of us. I know he was always male before the Silver Surfer in the new movie's a woman. Yeah, there's a woman Silver Surfer in the comics too. They just decided to go with that one in the new movie.
Rather, Dimensius was
the original one, the one that I
those pieces
I think was a badass as male.
So for Xal'atath, while she had gained her freedom, she did not gain ultimate victory over her once boss, Dimensius. Salhadar went on to form a group called the Ethereum, and they ostensibly were hunting down whatever bits of Dimensius survived. They were fighting fire with fire, trying to kill void with void. That's why, in the Burning Crusade, they were our enemies. But in secret, that's not what they were doing. What they were actually doing was gathering the fragments of Dimensius, all so they could one day reform him. And that's why we end up meeting them in the Burning Crusade. Now, there would be many run-ins with that group of ethereals over the years, but for our purposes, we'll now fast forward to patch 11.2. That's the final major patch of the War Within. And since the Fall of Caresh, Xal'atath has schemed her way across Azeroth over so many thousands of years. Of course, we meet her in Legion, she gets her body in battle for Azeroth, and eventually, in Dragonflight, she gets the Darkheart, and she starts collecting all of this energy into it. And by the end of the War Within's initial campaign, it all looks great for her, until Illyria Windrunner cracks the Darkheart. Xal'atath needs to get it fixed, so she goes to the people who initially built it, the Goblins, only for a servant of Salhadar to snatch the Darkheart from under her nose. Thanks Galliwix for being a bit of a moron. Those ethereals then used its stored power to reform Dimensius. That then led to patch 11.2.
Right.
It forced a temporary alliance between us and Xal'atath that saw us store Manaforge Omega, defeat Salhadar, and end Dimensius, whose power Xal'atath added to the Darkheart. And by the end of the patch, she really does possess all that she needs. And as her forces mop up the remnants of
Yep, and we helped her get it. Don't forget that. We helped her get it. Just like we helped Iridikron, if you remember back in Dragonflight, get the Darkheart in the first place by going back and doing the time-walking shit with Galakron. We just keep fucking shit up. We should just stop playing the game. Just stop playing. Maybe things will get better.
Dimensius's, they come upon Salhadar. And that is where this cinematic begins. And now you understand how those characters got to this place. Supremacy opens on a battlefield and a massacre. Xalhadar's ethereals are fighting void creatures, and they are losing badly.
Right.
The camera makes it clear before anyone speaks a word. Salhadar is shot at eye level or below, surrounded, overwhelmed. And then the demand comes. Xal'atath is supreme, join us. He refuses. His forces retreat. He says,
this was a cool kill.
I don't want to do another bargain with another person, obviously, for such a
I'll say, like, the whole fight and everything about this thing, one thing I liked about it was so gritty. Like, his jaws being broken open, people getting slaughtered. It felt much more gritty than anything we've seen in, say, Dragonflight, or a lot of the War Within, to also add. So I was hoping, like, maybe this is, Metzen bringing back some of the grit back to, Warcraft, some of the violence back to Warcraft. We'll see.
Long time. His lot had been
was cool,
bound
though.
to Dimensius, but in reality, it's all over before it begins, because this is not a negotiation between equals. Xal'atath
and the way Xal'atath appeared, by the way, was creepy as fuck. She is creepy. Also hot, but creepy.
Approaches this defeated man, and her opening pitch tells you exactly the type of manipulator that she is. Quote, "For eons, you and your people have been slaves, fed scraps, but I..."
By the way, did anyone notice this? She pauses time. It's the second time we've seen her do that. The first time she did it was with Queen Ansarek when she showed up, remember, before she killed her mom. Pause time. She has this ability, I guess, to do it. Maybe she got it from when she absorbed Dalaran, right? Because there were some time manipulating items in Dalaran before she blew it up. So, but she does clearly have this ability where she can, like, temporarily at least pause time and just talk to a single person.
Offer you freedom beyond imagining. And here, she's not necessarily threatening him. What she's doing is she's framing herself as his liberator. The Void Lord he served is gone. The Ethereum failed.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
She's offering him a story where he's not a traitor who backs the wrong side. One where he is a victim who was never given a real choice.
Ansarek happened before Dalaran was destroyed, did it? Wasn't Dalaran destroyed to start the expansion, and then Queen Ansarek was talked to after that? Or was that just like the timeline? That was actually we're going back and seeing something that already happened, maybe. Either way, she has the power, clearly. How she got it, I don't know.
Until now. Salhadar pushes back.
Time manipulation's not really a void, a thing typically associated with the void. That's more like a Titan power.
Saying, empty promises, what do you know of our suffering?
Or arcane power.
That's where we see something that is new. Xal'atath dismisses the mythology that's been built up around her. She says, they say I am the harbinger of the void, that I am the blade of the Black Empire that was, referencing her time where it was thought she was in the service of the old gods, such as N'Zoth. But then she says, I'll tell you the truth, no living being has heard. The camera pushes into an extreme close-up on her face, and then the flashback begins. And here Blizzard make a very deliberate choice about how they show her, because her mortal form is a child. Why?
So this is Xal'atath? I wasn't sure. I was like, is this Xal'atath killing a child, or is Xal'atath the child? So everyone seems to have taken the stance that is Xal'atath.
Wide-eyed, terrified, engulfed by void tendrils, the dwarfer, tears streaming across her face. And then the transformation. Skin cracking to pale stone, eyes flooding with purple, mouth open mid-scream, reaching out. And essentially, it is transformation as violation. There is no power fantasy in what's happening to her. It is just a child being consumed by something that she can't resist, and in all likelihood, that she barely understands. She says, I lost my world just like you. I drowned in hatred and vengeance, just like you. She's drawing a...
She has something similar to the dark heart around her neck. I saw that. I think that's just some, jewelry. I don't think there's actually any relation there, maybe. But yeah, that necklace was something obvious. It's pretty noticeable as soon as you see the character for the first time. But this whole thing where she, turned to ash, that's why I thought this wasn't Xal'atath. I'm like, oh, this kid died. This kid just got fried up, but maybe that's just like a metaphor for what happened to her. She transformed in that moment.
I lost my world.
Or she probably actually lost her body is what happened, right? Because we do know that Xal'atath in her current form had to get a body. So maybe she survived this in a way, but her body did not.
Just like you.
That's
I
what we're
drowned in
witnessing
hatred and vengeance, just like you. She's drawing a parallel between her suffering and Salhadar's. Of course, what she doesn't say? Well, she was his harbinger. She was scouting out worlds. She is the reason he lost his world. That shared trauma she's invoking, well, she manufactured half of it. And then there's the pivot. Survival is all that matters. This is not some grand philosophy. This isn't some jailer-like, I have to set the cosmos right. It's not some big wisdom. It's just her operating principle. It's simply what she's had to do to continue existing.
Right.
And it's the same principle that drove her to initially ally with Dimensius, and then to turn on Dimensius, to arm the Careshi, and eventually to burn every alliance that she has made.
Yeah, survival is her end game, and anything that she does during midnight, any of the power she uses, any of the attack on the Sunwell, all that is in the guise of creating a place where she can survive forever. A world where she can survive forever. That's her whole end goal. It's like immortality is what she's really chasing. And we're just in the way of that.
So she's not really sharing a lesson learned. She's making a recruitment pitch. That it's just about survival, and with me, you can survive.
Right.
She says, you are void now. You may flee, but only I offer a true path forward. Survival and more is at my side, and you can lead them all. You'll see, it's not her saying, serve me. It's her saying, lead them. She's offering him exactly what he took for himself on Caresh. Power, title, command. She is handing the man who declared himself High King another crown. And of course he takes it, but the visual language tells you everything about the cost of his acceptance. We see one cut where Salhadar goes from battered and diminished into full void-infused regalia, armored and armed, stepping through a portal. It's a Faustian contract rendered in one gorgeous edit. Basically, all of this initial power is what compliance buys you. Visually, we understand why he says yes, even though we recognize it's a trap, and even though he likely recognizes that it's a trap. We then see the kneeling. Rows of ethereal soldiers, heads bowed, weapons drawn. It's pure feudal imagery of oath-swearing, of vassalage, and it's quite significant. You see, the Void is usually depicted as madness, chaos, whispers in the dark. It is unhinged.
Right.
But what we see is that Xal'atath's drive for survival is turning Void into empire.
Yeah, it looks like she's ordering the Void. It's interesting. It's almost the same thing that Sargeras did with the demons of the Burning Legion, right? Like all these demons and pit lords, they all existed long before Sargeras showed up. But what he did was he took that and he saw the infinite power that it could, be in terms of being an army that can infinitely come back and destroy worlds and all this. And he siphoned it all. He ordered it all. He created generals and an orderliness to it, right? And that's kind of what Xal'atath's doing with the Void. The Void had so much power, so much, capability in it, but it was always just everywhere. It was always just dicking around, destroying shit on its own. No real order to it. And now Xal'atath showed up, and she's creating generals and a whole command structure and everything through the Void. So it kind of parallels in their stories, honestly.
Into hierarchy. She's essentially using survival of the fittest and raw power to beat a hierarchy into something that is naturally chaotic and disorganized. Right. That's perhaps what makes her different from, say, some of the old gods. But then we get the final shot. Xal'atath floats above a vast army, void creatures towering behind her, ethereals kneeling below, Salhadar at the center looking up. We see the dark eclipse.
That's probably why she hated the old gods, because they just wanted to rule in their own little territories of Azeroth, and they would have never served her. And she probably saw them as an annoyance, like, you idiots. You idiots wanting to be lords of this world. For what reason? For what reason? There's so much more that we could do if we just ordered all this shit up and actually pointed this weapon in the right direction. And so she basically got rid of them one by one, or let us get rid of them one by one.
In a burning orange sky, and that is actually quite significant.
So she's doing to the Void what Sargeras did with the Legion. Yeah, basically. What Sargeras did with demons and Fel, ordered it up and you turned it into a weapon. She's doing the same with the Void. That's exactly what I'm saying, yep.
Significant. The whole cinematic has been running on a color tension, purple void energy against an orange sky. But that orange isn't the pure golden light that most of Warcraft's heroes channel. What we see is that when the light, even something like a sunset, is near or in and around Xal'atath, it appears darker, fierier. And if you've seen Varis's visions in patch 11.2.7, you'll see that angry, consuming light devouring the people she loves. You'll recognize the color. So this is the zealous light, the extreme light, which is something Midnight is actively setting up as its own kind of threat. And in this we see Xal'atath floating at the center of both, the void that she wields and the light that we will wield, perhaps inadvertently, against ourselves, all of which will fuel her plan. And if that seems weird, do remember that as a dagger during Legion, she once whispered to us, calling the Naru, quote, long-lost brethren. And with that in mind, the final frame is more than just a pretty visual. It's showing that she's not here to defeat the light and to eliminate it. It's more showing she's here to consume absolutely all of it, and that even the light will be bent towards her ends.
Yep, look at how orderly that looks. That looks like an army ready to be commanded. Doesn't look so, chaotic and disorderly as the old gods like the Zoth always describe the Void.
And then she ends on, now midnight shall fall. And with that...
By the way, even that last shot with the empty portal, the way it's, I can see if I can pause it perfectly.
She ends...
Yeah, right here. Almost got it perfect. I thought this was like something symbolic. The sun, sunset going down, basically the light fading away, the way she's kind of here. And he talked about chaotic firelight. I saw it more as like a light fading away. It's a sunset. And then everything here encircled in this orderly picture of the void.
Ends on, now midnight shall fall. And with that, our cinematic ends. So you might be wondering, okay, what does this mean for midnight? And what's going to happen next?
Midnight.
Okay, how do we get from this cinematic to the midnight expansion? It's actually fairly simple. At the end of patch 11.2.7, we see Xal'atath finally use the energies held within the Dark Heart, unleashing the Void Storm, which is the huge stormy portal that you'll soon open over Silvermoon City.
Right.
And that's what kicks off the midnight expansion. It's what you saw in the big cinematic. And of course, being a portal, it has another side. That other side is called Voidscar. It's this fallen world that is going to serve as Xal'atath's base of operations.
Yeah.
Now, in that cinematic at the end of 11.2.7, we see that Illyria Windrunner is trapped, it would appear anyway, on that world. And within that world, and the zone that we'll visit, there is this, the Void Spire. And the Void Spire is where we will find Salhadar in midnight. And it's where we'll see what will...
Again, clearly like some sort of orderly siphoning of the void thing that she's created here. It's what she built. We saw her building it in one of the cinematics in The War Within. So, yeah, it looks like, again, an order of disorder.
Become of him.
She's almost acting like a Titan. It's kind of weird.
Because maybe this deal that he's made won't go that well. I mean, if you look at all the characters that Zal has cut deals with...
Maybe she is the last Titan? Oh, Jesus. I don't think so, but hey, it'd be a crazy play on words there.
Be it when she was a
Void Mordor, yeah.
The likes of Natalie Celine, or a lot more recently, with all the people she manipulated through the War Within, well, yeah, it's probably not going to end well for Salhadar. But if you think that we'll go to the Void Spire, kill Xal'atath, and be done, you would certainly be wrong. That's because Void Spire is not the final raid of Midnight's first tier. The final raid is the March on Caldenas. What happens after that? Well, we do not know. But now, you do know about Xal'atath. You know a lot more about her lore from this video, and...
It does look like a Void Ouroboros, doesn't it? Ouroboros was doing the same thing. It was like siphoning power into it, and then distributing it out from there. Interesting.
You've seen the thing that drives her character at its core, with survival, and the pretty damn gnarly visual of why. I've got to say, Blizzard's art team absolutely knocked it out of the park with the cinematic. It was fantastic. And if you want to see the War Within's final campaign, which is the one leading directly into Midnight and directly into this very video, or at least the cinematic this video covers, then watch this video next, because that video will tell you the whole story.
A video of a video. Yeah, interesting takes here. And the whole, Azeroth is established as basically being the final Titan. I agree. Azeroth probably is the last Titan. What her plan is to use Azeroth for, how to gain... We know that her end game now is to gain immortality, basically. She just wants to survive. Surviving is her main goal at the end of the day. That's basically what she tells Salhadar. So what she's going to use Azeroth for, how that's linked to her future survival, we don't know yet. Turning her into... Not letting her turn into a Titan maybe is the final end game goal there. But we know whatever it is, it's like opposite whatever the Titans want, which is why all this orderliness is kind of weird. But anyways, interesting cinematic, nice breakdown here from Bellular, and I like where the story's going. We'll see if it continues to play through here at midnight.